Thank you for coming out tonight to support the Costa Ballena Lifeguard program. This time last year, Jesse hosted a similar event. And in the preparations of that, we found that there was a lot of concern from the community about the lifeguard program. So we investigated, and we found out a lot of those concerns were valid. As far as the administration goes, we had very well-meaning, burnt-out volunteer board who had a paid, unsupervised assistant administrator doing the work. On the operational side, we had 3 full-time guards with no supervision. And on top of that, there was major antagonism between the operations and the administration. This program held on for another 6 months before June. And in June, 8 out of 9 of the board members quit, and so did the administrator. So in July, there's a brand new board came on. And I came on as a lifeguard trainer down there on the operational side. What I found on the beach is 4 guards covering 4 positions, working 7 days a week with incredibly low morale. 2 had told me they were going to quit. So we began training regularly. We upped the vibe on the beach. And we sent a team to the Lifeguard Summit in San Jose, where we met with other lifeguard teams, got to meet with every other active lifeguarding association in the country. The main intention of that summit was to put some teeth to a law that had been passed some years back that demands municipalities pay for lifeguard programs. That was great, and I'm glad we learned about that. We're following up with the municipality on this. However, the most important takeaways were the connections and the networking that we did there, as well as a verbal commitment from Captain Alvaro that he was willing to come back to the team. So in August, the administration, the new administration, had gotten their feet on the ground, they learned the ropes, and they were stable. They hired an assistant for the administration who was paid per task rather than salary like it had been. Hired a professional accountant so that our numbers are actually in order. And most importantly, we hired back 2 guards, so now we had a team of 6, and the guys had days off again. We were stable throughout the low season with a couple highlights. In September, Anson and I went to Santa Teresa to see their program. They have a completely volunteer lifeguard program, and their volunteers are international. They're professional lifeguards from other parts of the world who come here in their off season and work as volunteers in exchange for room and board, basically. That's something we'd like to implement down here as well. I'll touch that in the end. In October, we were able to do a whole week of certification. It was like lifeguard week. So we got our entire team off of the beach so that we could train together, learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. In order to do this, we needed people to guard the beach, and that's where Santa Teresa was so generous. They sent a 5-person team down to cover our beaches while we trained. On top of that, we had 4 other lifeguard teams in the house, 10 visitors from 4 different teams to support us in this training as instructors. The end result of this was we had 9 certified lifeguards, 4 new lifeguards who are presently working on our team, which leads us to the now. Here we are December, a year from when we first found out that there were issues. And if you go down to the beach now, you might see any one of 12 lifeguards, 8 full-timers with a full-time captain. You're going to see administration and guards cooperating effectively and happily. You're going to see new uniforms, walkie-talkies, and new equipment. There's excellent morale, both on the beach and in the administration. And you'll see new hours. We're now working 8 to 6, especially to cover that 5 to 6 window where there historically were lots of drownings around sunset time. We also have verbal commitment to rebuild and rehab the towers and a sponsor for that. We're hoping tonight we're going to get sponsors for our other needs. So let me touch a couple budgetary points. In order to have both beaches with full-time protection 365 days a year, the basic salaries, the basic payroll is about $200,000. That includes all of the extras the Costa Rican government demands, the caja, the insurance, etc. Now that's a lot of money. The good thing that we have going for us is the municipality has made a verbal commitment to $100,000. We're presently negotiating the details and working out how we can receive those funds. And in this moment, we have $38,000 in the bank, which is less than 2 months operations. So we're hoping tonight we're going to get some support from you guys, because how we're paying for guards right now is by the grace of God and very generous donors. Thank you. You know who you are. Our request tonight is that we can get those base salaries covered, which is the remaining $100,000. And if we can get that covered on an annual basis, we know this program is going to flourish and thrive. We've seen it. If this year was an experiment, we've seen a very successful experiment about what happens when there's motivated people and there's paychecks. So the planned use for these funds is to have the base pay for the salaries. It's going to be 4-day work weeks, 10-hour days for our full-time guards. Additionally, we would like quads. One quad for each beach will make the beaches a lot safer. A quad is a tool down here that it's unbelievable that they're working without that in this moment. At a beach that's almost 2 miles long, to be able to do a prevention or a rescue down at Roca Verde while you're sitting in the tower in Dominical, that takes up a lot of time. And while you're doing that, who's watching the beach down below? So the quads are essential rescue equipment. Now, everything I've mentioned so far is just the base coverage for the 2 beaches full year. But we have a bigger vision than this, because we know that for this to stay, to be sustainable, we need the community to be involved. Lifeguards don't last forever. We need young ones to be interested in this job. So it needs to be a good job, and they need to see professional people who they respect out there working. That's what that base covers. And then we're coming in with a new project and program called the Surf Rescue Society. Under the Surf Rescue Society, we're already hosting Junior Lifeguard program. We want to renovate and expand it. The Junior Lifeguards is useful on many levels. You can ask me about it later if you're interested. We want to include local volunteers. Those are the surfers who are at the beach all the time. Give them a little training, and we have allies in the water and on the beach pretty much all daylight hours. We're also intending to do an international lifeguard volunteer program just like Santa Teresa. Luckily, we can just sister with them and use their overflow, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. All we need is a place to put them. Also, we're going to be hosting events, competitions, and putting in some installations for physical activity and healthy activity on the beach. And finally, the Surf Rescue Society would like to do some community outreach and education. Going out to the schools, bringing lifeguards with us to do the preventions there before they get to the beach. Also included in that public outreach would be swimming lessons, basic swimming for the community. We know this is a big vision, and we know we can accomplish it. Thank you so much for coming tonight. If you're excited to support the program, here's a few options. One, you could be one of our annual sponsors so that we can have that baseline salary covered. Another, you could sponsor some of our equipment. What we're seeking now is the quads. Another great option would be a location or accommodation so that we can host our international volunteers. We'd now like to open the room for your thoughts and your questions. Thanks again for being here.